Okay, the innate immune system, innate immunity, immune system, whatever. Okay, so the innate immune system, this is the system you're born with. It's fast to react. And it's general. So it uses the same general strategies to handle pathogens that come into the body. So we call it non-specific resistance. Okay, so your first line of defense, just kind of like the army. So the first line of defense, this is going to be barriers. So physical barriers, and chemical barriers. All right, so what do we mean by barriers? So, just gonna make a little man here. Man, it's a big old head, right? Okay, so physical barriers. So the first kind of barrier you see or should think about is hair. Okay, so the hair on your head is a barrier. It keeps things away from your skin. Okay, hair on your armpits, pubic hair just all over your body that's meant to protect you from insects, protect you from all kinds of things. Okay, it's the first barrier. So hair, there's also earwax. So little ears here. So earwax. Earwax basically catches and traps pathogens that are entering your ear and keeps things from getting deep into the ear. All right. Mucus. So put some little eyes on this guy, I guess. Okay. So, mucus. Mucus is something, it's made from mucin. Mucin combines with water and it gives it its kind of slippery gel-like consistency. And it also traps and inhibits pathogens. All right, oils. So they're oils, on our skin, oils going through your hair, all of that. Oils actually contain antimicrobial, like fatty acids. Okay, so they repel and kill microbes, right? It also conditions the skin and keeps it from cracking. Okay. What else? How about tears? So tears are salty. And there are a lot of pathogens that do not like salt. How about saliva? So saliva has things called lysozymes. And those are antimicrobial or antibacterial. They lysozymes help to kill microbes, pathogens, things like that. All right, so what else have we got here? So if we look inside the body, we have the stomach, right? And the stomach has acid, right? So hydrochloric acid. And acid, because it's a very, very low pH, and that tends to kill pathogens. So if you swallow something, it generally won't get past your stomach. All right, what else? So we've got also sweat. So sweat also is salty. So it's got salt. It also has lysozymes. Your skin. So unbroken skin. So unbroken skin, if you remember from the skin chapter, that the skin itself has something called the acid mantle. The skin itself has a lower pH, of course not as low as stomach acid, but it is acidic. It's low pH, around I think a 4.5 pH, something like that. And that also inhibits bacteria and other pathogens. The skin is also dry, and most bugs like warm, moist places. It's dry, but it's also supple, as long as it's not injured or something like that. So it's unbroken, then things can't get through. There's a normal flora on the skin. And that will prevent, we say good bacteria, so that colonization will prevent the colonization of bad bacteria, of pathogens. Actually, let me erase this really quick and move it so I have enough room. So the normal flora, we'll put normal flora prevents bacteria colonization on the skin. Okay. The last thing are the mucous membranes. So we have, if you have healthy mucous membranes. So remember, a mucous membrane is, cellular. So it's a bunch of cells, like, your simple columnar cells of the digestive tract, or in the respiratory tract. And they have like these, remember the goblet cells that make mucus, right? And, they've got like a little basement membrane thing called the lamina propria. Remember that? And that was made up of areolar connective tissue, so it gives plenty of nutrients to the cells there that are simple columnar or whatever they are, pseudostratified, whatever. That can include, so your mucous membranes can include the conjunctiva, so in the eye there. It includes the tubes of the respiratory tract, all lined with mucous membranes. The GI tract, lined with mucous membranes. The urinary tract, and the reproductive. So all these areas, these tubes have this mucous membranes that secrete mucus, right? Mucus all over the place, right? And in mucus, there are chemicals and things like that that help to inhibit bugs and stuff like that. The vaginal secretions, urine. So urine, vaginal secretions, all of those things have chemicals that inhibit and help to control bacterias and eliminate pathogens before they can get to you. So this is your first line of defense. But the first line of defense, move this over here, but the first line of defense can be crossed. I mean, it sometimes that's not enough. So then there is a second line of defense. Just going to put this over here. And the second line of defense is going to include phagocytic cells, so phagocytosis, natural killer cells, inflammation, and fever. And there's also one other thing that the innate can do, and that's something called complement. So here's your first line of defense. Now we're going to talk about the second lines of defense.